Good morning, girls. In our third unit, we learn how to create a view and how to create a sequence. Right? Now, today we are going to learn about the third object, that is index. This is one of the object of Oracle database. Indexes are data structure that help to improve speed in obtaining specific rows from a table. It contains an entry for each value of index columns of the table and provides direct and fast access to rows, that is, to speed up queries. Index should be created on a column in following situation. Number 1, the column is queried frequently, and second situation is if a referential integrity constraint exists on the column. There is one more situation where you can use indexes for fast retrieval of rows. This situation is a unique key integrity constraint exists on the column. Oracle retrieves rows in a table in one of the two ways. Number 1 is by row ID and second is by full table scanning. Right? Row ID is the physical location of a row. Consequently, it is the fastest way. We can say that it is the fastest way of locating a row, faster even than a primary key lookup. As we define a primary key for a particular column for a table, for fast accessing, it is better option than primary key to access the row in faster way through the row ID. So it can be useful in certain type of transaction where we select some rows. Okay, usually major type of indexes are B-tree index and bitmap index, right? We'll see how the index work. Before we start the types of indexes, let us see what is row ID. Okay, for that we will do a one query in SQL window. Here you can see the query. Select row ID, employee number from employee. For executing this query, switch to your SQL window by giving Scott and Tiger username and password respectively. What you have to write is very simple. You have to just type the query, select row ID, comma, employee number from employee. Select row ID. See, I have not given a space between row and ID. These two words are combined words, okay, and made a single word, row ID. Select row ID and employee number from EMP and semicolon and press enter. Here you can see the ID number of a particular row. This ID is inserted by Oracle itself, not by a programmer. Programmer do not enter this row ID, right? This is a location of physical place of this particular row. This is inserted automatically, not by a programmer. Fine. So whenever you try to access a particular row, the access is done based on this row ID. Fine. It is a faster way compared to a primary key. Now, Oracle allows the certain creation of two types of indexes. There are indexes that allows duplicate values for the index column, that is duplicate index, and second is indexes that deny duplicate value for the index column, that is unique index. Basically there are two types. Number 1 is duplicate index and second one is unique index. What is the difference? The duplicate index will allow the duplicate value for the index column, as the name suggests, and in a unique index the column do not allow a duplicate value. Now let us see how to create an index. An index can be created on one or more column based on the number of columns included in the index. An index can be a simple index or it may be a composite index. As you know that the meaning of composite means composition of two columns, right? Simple index means we can form the index on a single column, whereas composite index means we can create index on more than one column. Here you can see the syntax for creating simple index on the screen. How you can create it? Create index, these are keywords, then index name. As per your desire, you can set the name of index. On table name, you have to mention the name of table on which you want to create an index, and then you can specify the column name. Let us try to understand how to create a simple index through an example. Here you can see the example: create index, temp index on EMP. On which column you want to create an index? I want to create an index on employee number. Fine. So let us execute this query. Create index, then name of index will specify over here. On the name of table you have to specify, and then specify the name of column on which you want to create an index. Okay, press enter. What happened? Yes, such column list already indexed. This column is already indexed by some other index name, right? This is an error. Here on the screen you can see that index is created on employee number column, right, with name TMP index. See here, we have created one index on employee number column of employee 10 table instead of EMP, right? So let us see what is next. Now how to create a composite index. How to create composite index? Create index name on table name, then we'll specify the name of column. In previous example we have specified only one column name. Instead of that, here you have to specify the list of columns separated by comma. Okay, that is called composite index. Let us try to understand how to create composite index through an example. Here you can see the example: create index, temp index on EMP 10. We have taken another table, right? Before we create the same index, we must drop the previous index. How to drop index? Let me show you first. Drop index and then name of index. It is very easy, same as deleting the table. Drop index, TMP index. Now you can create this index with the same name, right? That's why I dropped the first one. I repeat, before creating an index with the same name, it is compulsory to delete the index with the same name, right? Because we cannot create more than one object with same name. So here I dropped the index with name TMP index and created once again. Now this is called our composite index. Index is created. Okay, here index is created on these two columns. Fine, employee number and E name. The indexes in the above example do not enforce uniqueness. That is, the column included in the index can hold duplicate values. To create a unique index, the keyword unique should be included in the create index command. As I told you that you can create two different types of columns. One is duplicate index and second is unique index. If you want to create an unique index, you must specify the word unique, right? For creating a unique index, you must specify the unique keyword in your query. How? Let us see the syntax for creating unique index. We will write a query like this: create unique index. These are keywords for creating a unique index. Then a remaining part will remain same. See, index name, on table name and column name. This is for single unique index. Let us try to understand how to create an index, unique index, right? Create unique index, temp index on emp10, and I want to create index on empno. So I'll write the name of that column in this bracket. Before we create the index with the same name, what we have to do is to drop our existing index with the same name. Right here index is dropped, so now you can create your own index one more time with the same name. Create unique index, temp index on emp10 and employee number. Right here we got the message, index created. Now how to create a composite unique index? Now we are aware of this term. Composite means we can create index on more than one column, right? For that we will specify the names of columns in the pair of parentheses separated by comma. Create unique index, then name of index on table name and column name separated by comma. Let us take an example of this column also, this type of index also. Index is created, right? emp number and e name. Here the name of index is tmp I and d. Temp index. Now how to find the index created for a particular table, right? For example, I want to find the index created for table employee 10. Okay, I repeat, if I want to find the indexes created for a table employee 10, how can we find it? So for that again we need to execute one query. Select index name, index type from user indexes where table name equals to employee 10. Okay, here you can see that the temp index is the name of index created on emp10, right? In the similar way you can find the table the indexes created for emp1 semicolon 1. Let us find the indexes created for emp table by giving a same command, right? There are 3 indexes created for emp table. The first one is function based, the second one is normal, and the third one is again normal. Now how to drop the index created for a particular table. You can drop the index in the same way as you drop your table. Drop index, my index, right? Drop index, my index 1, for example, my index 1. I want to drop this index is dropped. Now I want to drop this one, selected one index, right? So I will write drop index tmp index is dropped. Now create index, my index on emp on two separate columns. This example is already covered. The index created with the above statement will be used to retrieve data when the where clause has either both employee number, ename, or employee number alone, but not when ename alone is used, right? I repeat, the index created with the above statement, this one, will be used to retrieve the data when the where clause has either employee number or second is ename or employee number alone, right? Both together or else emp number alone, but not when the ename is alone, right? So it creates the index based on the first column. Why is it so? Because it always create the index based on the first column. So whenever we apply a search criteria for both this column, this will work. If we give a condition based on the first column only, this will also work, but not in case of the second column single alone. Fine. Now create unique index, my index 1 on emp. Index is created, and create the index, my index 1. So these are the example of a simple index, right? Next is bitmap index. When we have low cardinality columns in which number of bitmap values is small compared to the number of rows, for example yes and no. Okay, this type of column is called low cardinality columns. Here we can use the bitmap index because the data stored for this column is, you can see the example, yes or no, either yes or no, no variation in the value of this particular column. At that time you can use bitmap index for searching, right? So here let's see how to create a bitmap index. For that you have to replace the unique keyword with bitmap. Very simple. Create bitmap index, the name of index on table name, and you have to specify the name of column on which you want to create an index, right? It is very easy. Create a bitmap index on department number column of employee 1 table. This is what we want to do, right? Create bitmap index with name IND department on employee number 1, and the column name is department number, right? Here if you think about the department number column, it has only 4 to 5 values. They are 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. In case of employee table, there are only 3 values are stored, either 10, 20 or 30. So in this case you can use a bitmap index for searching purpose. Okay, let us try this example. index is created. We can drop this index in the same way as we have dropped for a unique index and for a simple index. One more type of index is there, that is function based index, that we will discuss in our next video. Thank you.